I've learned a little bit about how to become a professional. There's an approach to this that's much more than jumping in a car and trying to drive fast. I've learned about cars that I never knew, mechanical things, and I've learned about team building, and now I'm a team owner. It makes it a lot more difficult. None of this is particularly natural to me. I didn't take any economics or marketing classes in college. I was studying to be a surgeon. So I've had to learn it all on the fly, and that's equally difficult because whatever time you're spending off the track, for example, working on the marketing of the team, you're not spending driving. That's the challenge of it, and the challenge is what gets you out of bed in the morning. I wasn't born stuck to the seat of a go-kart like a lot of these guys. Like any other sport that requires muscle memory and repetition, it's much easier if you start at the age of 12 than if you start at the age of 32, which is pretty much for me. And I went to race school, not because I had aspirations of being a race car driver, because I thought it would be a neat thing to do and try and learn and might make me a better road driver. It took me all of about 20 minutes in a race car to decide that I needed to keep doing more of it. Jim Pace is a well-known sports car driver. He has taught me about everything else that goes into preparation and the mental, physical, and psychological aspects of driving. Without Jim Pace, I'm not here, I'm not sitting here. I might be in the stands, but I wouldn't be here. My hands were probably more made for neurosurgery than they were for operating a race car. They both demand the same approach, especially from a surgeon's point of view. It's about precision and being able to repeat things perfectly, properly, the best way in a constant fashion and consistent fashion. And when you do it repeatedly, perfectly, over and over again, that's the ideal situation, whether you're in an operating room or at a racetrack. There's high stakes. Obviously, the stakes in an operating room are of a much different nature, and I generally don't risk my own life in an operating room. But the idea is it's the same level of concern. You're truly invested in the outcome of either situation. It's world-class drivers, and it's some of the best racing in the world. If you watch other racing series, you recognize that immediately. It's hugely competitive. It's big fields, and it's loads of fun. My first Rolex 24 was sort of one of those experiences where you're walking around with your head on a swivel, just with your mouth hanging open, going, you know, I'm sitting next to Juan Pablo Montoya, and this is very odd. And then he bumps you going into turn one, and you're shaking your fist at the guy, going, okay, well, it's, you know, the appeal of that has worn off, and now he's just another guy who, you know, cut you off. First and foremost, we're here to win the Rolex. The last 2 years, we were 4th and 3rd, respectively, with the same crew, same drivers, same team, same engineers, and consistency is what wins that race. It's the race everybody wants on their resume, and the guys who have it on their resume already want it on it again. You don't want to be that close anymore, you want to win it. The right team, which I'm convinced we really have guys who work great together. It takes a little luck to be in there come Sunday morning. And you put that all together and you have a winner. I'll do anything that keeps my focus off of the stresses of work. I have a wonderful family. My son has only recently at the age of 6, gotten his first go-kart. So one of my hobbies has become going go-karting with my son, which is wonderful. Whether it involves a wife and family or just being out somewhere where I need to focus on something other than the stresses of a job, I'll take it. I'm a Philadelphia native, so I'm sort of cursed by the need to cheer for the Phillies and the Eagles and the Flyers. This year we had a very good year for the Phillies. The interesting thing is my son just discovered baseball, and this year was a good bonding year for us to watch the Phillies. The hard part is he thinks the Phillies win the World Series every year. Long-term goals are to grow in the same direction and at the right rate, which is why we haven't just, okay, we're going to run a full season without knowing what we're doing. We've been transitioning very carefully. We don't want to be a one-and-done story. You always have moments where you feel like you're on along for the ride and it's going whether you like it or not, but it does seem to be going at the right pace. And some of that's dictated by finances, some of that's dictated by the reality of the situation of, again, I'm learning as I go along. But the goal is to grow in a measured fashion. And we seem to be doing that the right way so far.